What is going on this evening? It is Modern Man Dakota Beck here in a different city. It is Austin, Texas this time. Um, again, still having some difficulties with sound, so bear with me. But we're just going to jump right into it. And today's subject that I wanted to touch into was potential stepfathers and not passing up on them. Now, this subject kind of recently hit home for me just because it kind of, well, basically, I was passed up on and I was going to be a potential stepfather. Now, again, not every situation is perfect. I get it, and not every man that comes into your life should just be uh, gifted that role of a stepfather. It's a big responsibility. I know that you protect your children at all costs. So to bring a new man into the situation, that's a big deal. But on the flip side, a man wanting to come in that situation is a big deal. But I don't think females think of it like that. I just think it's my kids need to be protected as they should be. And I'm not just going to bring any old man into it, which is, again, understandable to a point. Now, I'm not talking about bringing your sneaky links by your kids or just some dude you have a little interest in, but there's really no serious discussions, no dates. You're pretty much just texting or calling. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the guys that have actually been courting you, have actually been taking you out on dates, the guys that are actually talking about becoming some type of a family and marriage. Those type of guys. The guys that are already having conversations with you on that type of level, they need to be considered. Do not pass up on them because you feel you can get one later. They may not be there. Guys realistically do not want to take care of other men's children. And when they get in a situation to where they either have to take care of another man's children or they're not going to have this woman that they want, some are willing to make that exception. Okay. Again, females, you're not entitled to a man accepting you how you are and accepting your kid. That's extra. He's doing extra. Okay? Because realistically, he wants a woman with no kids. Why? Because the man in the relationship is most likely going to be paying the majority of the bills. The rent, the food, the trips, any date nights, any other types of bills that you may have. Okay? And that's just the basics. It might even go over top of that into shopping for you as his lady, the kids, his, or even yours, the ones that aren't his, but he's being the stepdad for, and whoever else, and whatever else occurs in the relationship that is an expense. The dude is going to be paying the majority of that. So yes, when the guys get into these relationships, especially with women with children, it is a very big investment to them. And it should be taken very seriously by the woman, but it's not. Now, in today's society where 80% of the time children are born in single parent homes, it's almost become normal for a woman to not only have a kid, but when she's dating him or looking to date, it's almost like I'm a package deal, you just have to accept it. And then us as guys in the dating world, we're just like, wow, okay. So we don't get any credit for even wanting to be a stepdad. It's almost a requirement now. No. It's not a requirement. We're making the exception. We're giving you the benefit of stepping into that role. Okay. Especially when the child's father that you do have aren't worth a damn. Okay, when they aren't worth a damn, when they're barely providing or not providing at all, that puts even more pressure on us, more pressure on the man and his resources. Because it's one thing when you're getting your child support. Now, you're still going to have other expenses, and child support doesn't cover everything. But when you don't even get that, but yet you're trying to be with a man and you have one or two or three kids. Now, yes, I understand, ladies, you're independent, you're working, you're already doing everything on your own, you're taking care of your kids, whatever the case is. But when you get with this man and you're living in a home with him, he's going to be using his resources on another man's kids. When all his resources initially should just be going to whatever kids he has, his own DNA. That's what he wants to spend his money on. But no, he's coming into a situation where there's kids that don't have his DNA, do not have his last name, but yet he is still going to be in the role of giving them advice, leading them in the right direction, financially supporting them, feeding them, assisting them in everyday life issues. Guys need to get credit for that when they do it, and guys need to get some consideration when they are talking about doing it. Because not a lot of guys want to do it, and not a lot of guys will do it. That's bottom line. And it brings me back again to me personally, because there's a situation that happened recently where I'm dating this female. You see me, I've been moving around city to city. So for me to date a female, it requires me to travel to go see a female because they're not moving with me. I'm the one moving cities, right? Makes sense, right? So I'm moving cities, but yeah, I'm still making time to go back to this one certain city just to date this one female. Consider it. I'm still making time to plan events for me and this female to do because I actually like real dates. I'm not just trying to go to Applebee's and have a 2 for 20. Fair. I'm also financing all these dates because, again, the person that asks or proposes the date needs to be the one financing the date. So, ladies, if you ask a man out, if you say, hey, I want to do something with you, that is on you to pay for the date. But when these men are asking to take you out and they say, I want to see you, I want to do this with you, it is on them. Yes, fellas, it is on you. You ask, you pay. That is the rule. Okay. So like I said, I'm doing all this. Things are going well. We had a few dates. Now this is where the story gets a little bit more interesting. While everything's going well, on this last particular date, we start having conversations about children. Like every, potential couple should. You need to realize, okay, what's going to happen with the kids? Like, you're a mother, obviously, and I know it's just not going to be me and you in this situation. So I propose, hey, you have two kids, I have one. Uh, we can, in the future, the goal is to combine a family, and I also want one more kid. That is not a crazy request. A man usually is going to go into a situation wanting another kid unless the man is truly not ready for a kid, cannot financially have a kid, or he's way past his prime and doesn't want any more kids. Me, I am financially ready for a kid. I am in my prime, and I only have one kid with my DNA. So any female that would be dating a guy like that should understand he's going to want a kid. But no, going back to her, we're having this conversation. She says she doesn't want any kids. She's like 22, 23, already has two kids, two baby dads, which is an extremely red flag to the guy because he's like, okay, so you've given two other men the highest honor you have, which is giving a kid. And you gave it to them. But now when a man that's actually being really serious about you, you're taking that off the table. You're basically taking yourself out of the dating game at that point, because finding a man that's around your age that's not going to want any more kids, okay, sure, you can find that diamond. in the ocean. You know, you can find that needle in a haystack if you want to. But it sounds like the type of man you're looking for is going to be much older and already has all the kids he needs. So, respectfully, that's just not it. That's not it. But that's not where the story ends, ladies. So, we're getting to this conversation. She's telling me all these reasons why, she doesn't want to have a kid. It's going to affect her body again, which, by the way, she did not lose all her baby weight. So it's going to affect her body weight, and she just doesn't feel like it. She's still young, and she got a lot going on with work. Reasons on reasons on reasons why just not going to have a kid. Not even now, but not even later. Okay. Just completely off the table, even to the point where she is very resistant on even doing a surrogate. So at that point, you would think, okay, this relationship's pretty much over because we're going. I'm going one way to the more settled down family route, and she is more of the I have my family. I just want a man, and that's it. Nothing extra, nothing added on. You're just going to be my man, and I already have the rest of the family that I'm going to bring with me. You know. So basically, yeah. After that, we haven't really seen each other. The twist comes in a couple weeks later. Oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, here's a picture of the pregnancy test. I knew a couple weeks ago, but I didn't really want to tell you at the dinner that we were having while we were discussing kids. So I thought this would be a better time to tell you. Oh, and by the way, I'm getting rid of it. Okay. Thanks for telling me late, and good luck with your abortion. Now there's nothing wrong with having an abortion if a female is in a bad situation or she's with a man who is emotionally or physically abusing her, if she's pregnant by a man who is financially unstable or does not have any financial means at all, she needs to get rid of that baby. This black community is not going to grow with the birth of poor black kids. It's just not. We need more families, not more impoverished communities, which start with impoverished kids. Because if a kid grows up broke in a broken home, which is single parent, because it's broken, then how do you think they're going to grow up? Their only situation they know is a single parent home. So it's not like they have this great example of two parents. So you think they're automatically just going to turn 18 and be like, I know for a fact that I'm just going to get a two parent home because that's what even though I didn't grow up with that. No. Duh. Come on. Kids know what they see. So again, I wasn't mad at her because she decided she didn't want to be, with me or she wanted to have an abortion. I wasn't mad at any of that. But again, another twist. So the next twist is she comes recently and says, hey, another hey big head text and says, how you doing? Clearly I'm still the same as when you told me you were going to get an abortion with the child that I wanted. But I'm doing all right. How are you? And she tells me when she's going to have the abortion and everything. And I'm like, okay, cool, good luck. And her response is, so are we going to talk again? And I just said, I am talking to you right now. She says, talk. And in my head, I'm thinking, man, respectfully, go to hell. Just straight there. Don't skip go and just straight to hell. Because what would give any impression that I would want to talk to a woman who felt I wasn't worth having a kid with. And when I'm judging you by your baby dads, because that's what men do, they will judge you by your baby dads. So if your baby dads aren't worth a damn, if that's what we're looking at. That's why guys ask about your past, because they need to know. It's almost like buying a car, right? You're gonna see, okay, well, yeah, it's a used car. That doesn't mean it's a bad car yet. But once we come to find out, oh, it needs this new engine, or all the lights are out, or it makes a funny noise when it starts. What is that? You bring a mechanic in, they tell you the problems, and then you make the determination, oh, this is good enough for me to buy, so I'm gonna buy it. Okay, and if there's enough problems with it, then we're not going to buy it. And that's how you make a smart judgment on buying a used car, right? Well, for us men, when we're judging these ladies who would technically be the used cars because they have kids already, we have to go back in their past. We have to go back in their own car facts and see what problems they had, what accidents. And the accident was you had a terrible baby dad, the one that's not supporting you now. So, yeah. So moving on to the story, I mean, I was nice. I didn't cuss her out like I might have, should have, but I was just like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then that's pretty much how it's gonna be. But ladies, why do you run off these men that are serious and potential about that have serious potential on being your child's stepfather, thinking that you're gonna get it later on, whether it's 5 years down the road or a decade down the road. When you women just think that you can just flip a switch, turn it on, and you're just going to just get the family you want, that's not how it's going to work. Your value is not rising as you get older. That's the men. Their value is rising. They're going to be earning more. They're going to be deeper in their careers. And even on a physical standpoint, men get better with age. There are a few instances where ladies do get better with age, but most likely they don't. Your prime is in your 20s. Men's prime can be in their 30s and 40s. Keep that in mind as well. So that's why females think, oh, well, when I get my 30s and 40s, there's still going to be a lot of attractive men. Yeah, there are. And they have lots of options. Unlike the ladies, yeah, y'all got options to sleep with, but who's seriously courting you? Who's seriously trying to take you serious as far as a relationship? How many options are those? How many serious options do you have on family life? Not a lot. Not a lot. So just keep that in mind when you have a man that is ready to settle down. And if you feel like it's too soon, or you feel like he might be playing you, check him. Ask him about his life, ask him about his credit, ask him about his financial goals, ask him about his living situation, where he plans on moving if he really does want to blend his family. Ask him all these things. And if he has answers for him, he's for real. If he's not for real, he's not going to have any answers, and he's going to look like a deer in headlights. When you ask a guy a question, and he's just like, and deflects, changes the topic, gives you very one word vague answers, references everything to the future. Those type of guys, not for real. The guys that are for real are gonna have details. They're gonna have plans. Because they mean it. When they say they want that family, they mean it. So do not let them go because you feel like you can get it later on. And the very last thing that you need to take in consideration, and I'll touch on this topic later, is this idea that you're coming into a situation, you're in your 20s, let's say, you most likely are not going to be the last female he has sex with. Just put it in your heads. Just just mentally just think about that. Now, there needs to be rules. A man should not ever be in a situation to where he's talking to your family or your friends or anyone in your inner circle in a romantic type of way. That is off limits. There's no way a man should be bringing home babies or diseases. But besides those rules, you do not need to cancel a situation or let a man go just because he decided, okay, I'm out of town one weekend, or he has some work fling that you'll never know about unless you're looking for it. It's just sex. This man is on the rise. He is giving you all his resources because he has sex with someone else. And it's just that. That is no reason to break up a home, especially if it's a stepfather. He's already taking on the responsibility of another man's kid. And yet you are tripping because sex? Because of sex? I mean, and I don't want to hear this, oh, I do everything for him. I'm the best in bed. Trust me, if you had a hardworking man, putting in them hours, and he comes home to you, but yet he still feels he has to look for other options while he's coming home to you every night, that means you're not doing it. You're not doing it. Whatever it is, you're not doing it. So go in the film room, watch some tape, get better, ask your girlfriends maybe, or maybe it's your girlfriends that get you in this situation in the first place because they're giving you wrong advice. So maybe you need to seek professional help in the bedroom, because I assure you, a man is always going to have options, especially if he's making more than the average or doing more than the average man. The average man is making 40K. So if he's making 50, 60, 70, he has options. So that's already step one. Step two is he's doing more than your baby father. He's doing more than the average man, because the average man isn't raising another man's kid. So that's two things he's doing above average. So for you to just throw a situation away because he had sex that you never would have known about, again, you're passing up on a stepfather, hoping for this Disney dream that you grew up watching, thinking you're going to be the queen and Cinderella. No, it's not there. Now, you can either be really grown and have this same conversation with the man you're with and break it down that way, so you can look him eye to eye and tell him, if you break any of those rules, you're gone. The man actually will respect you more if you do that. But if you don't, and you just kind of leave it unsaid, and it should be understood by both parties, regardless. But if you don't bring it up, then, it kind of is what it is. But at least if you bring it up right to his face and tell him, hey, we are serious. I am your woman. And what you do in your time is your time. But just know, if you disrespect me, if you embarrass me, if I have to hear about it from any outside party because you're sloppy, I'm gone. Simple as that. And mean it. He's gonna respect you. Well, looks like that's the that's all I got for tonight. But just remember that. Just remember that.